Hello, I'm Becky Goldsmith with Piece of Cake, and I'm going to show you a really easy way to make pieced triangle squares. So, I want to make 2-inch triangle squares out of these two pink fabrics. One's darker, one's lighter. What I've done is take a ruler and bring a line directly out from my needle, and I've taped against the ruler with painter's tape. I've measured my squares and cut them 2 1/2 inches by 2 1/2 inches. That's all you need to do to make a 2-inch triangle square, finished size 2 inches triangle square with this method. So what I've done is put the point one corner of these two squares that are nested together under the needle, and the other side of this triangle of these two squares of fabric will run along this edge of the painter's tape. So let me get this going. Now all I'm watching is this point right here as it tracks along that line, that edge of the painter's tape. And you can just chain several of these through. Now to finish this, you see you open it up, there's your triangle square, but to finish this you would need to trim away this fabric here, leaving a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now this method, while it is incredibly accurate and easy, does give you some waste because you're cutting off this business over here. So what if you made a second triangle square that would just sort of live in your stash until you're ready to use it? I think the easiest way to do that is to put another piece of tape on the bed of the sewing machine. And what I want to do is come over here a 1/2 inch. So I'm lining up that 1/2 inch mark on my ruler. And let me unstick my tape so that I can get this on here. This would be a whole lot easier if I wasn't straddling the video camera. And I really could have cut this tape longer. In fact, if I was going to make many of these, I would. But what I want to do now is run this point against this line, and I'm going to begin by keeping this point lined up with the 1/2 inch mark on my throat plate. Now if you don't have that mark on your throat plate, you could run this line of tape all the way out there so that you've got that to watch. But once you get it started, you just let that point track along as well. Let me put my fabric bridge in here. I always do that because it saves thread. And one moment please, I'm going to go get my scissors and then I'll be right back. I'm back. I found my scissors. Let me cut this one free, and I'll cut those free and set them aside. Now you can use your scissors or your rotary cutter to make this cut. What I'm going to do is split this right down the middle here. Now I'll press this, and I'll press the seam allowance to the dark half. That gives me a 2 1/2 inch, or it will, 2 1/2 inch triangle square that will finish 2 inches. And this one, how big will this one be? This one will be about 1 1/4 inches. A fun little size to use. You'll notice that on this triangle square, because of the way it's sewn from the square, you don't have those dog ears hanging off the edge of the triangle square. On this one you will have them, and I would use either my scissors or my rotary cutter to cut those off. I hope you've enjoyed this little tip. Happy stitching!